Welcome to our program, Coach to Coach. Today's guest is Julie Brown. Julie helps organizations, leaders, and teams work, communicate, and lead in ways that strengthen culture, elevate performance, and support human well-being without adding pressure or complexity. Julie's background spans leadership development, culture transformation, coaching, mentoring, and people development across a wide range of industries. Julie also works with and supports coaches through her program Grow With Me through a relationship and conversation basis. Thanks for joining me today, Julie. It's my pleasure to welcome you to Coach to Coach.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, it's great to
I'm
see you.
really looking forward to this conversation.
And the way I like to kick these off is to ask what first sparked your interest in coaching?
Right. Well, when I was 16 years old, I had a friend who had a boyfriend who used to be a hypnotist.
Mm,
And I was fascinated with the mind. And we had some conversations. And from being about 16, I could get arm levitation from people just by using the power of suggestion.
mm,
So that leaned me into reading books about hypnosis and hypnotherapy and how the mind worked throughout the years. But I wasn't in a position to do any training formally until I got to be a lot older. And then I went in first ended in the NLP in hypnotherapy world. I didn't even know what NLP was, but I had to do it to go and enter the hypnotherapy world, just training afterwards. And I was just bit by the bug. I mean, I was bit when I was 16 and I was reading books but life took over. But then I did the training and I trained and I did the advanced training and I did the trainer training. And then I was introduced to the nature of thought through a mentor, Jürgen Rasmussen, and really, really dove deep into the principles and how the mind works.
mm,
And throughout all of my training, I was a little bit skeptical, even though I'd had arm levitation, I knew the power of the mind. I was a bit skeptical, as in I wasn't just going to say something worked. I had to see it for myself.
mm,
So every exercise that we did, everything, all of the training, when I was seeing for myself the power and the impact of it, that was when it was like the world needs to know about this.
mm.
Like I knew so many people who were struggling. And then I think as so many of us do when we get bit by this, but we want to support people, we want to help people. I think it's just who we are, it's in us.
Yeah,
And I was well and truly bitten by that bug.
I love it. It's a great story. It's funny how I love how it traces back, not to suggest that you're old, but
I'm very old.
16 is for me anyway, quite a number of years ago.
Yeah,
Um,
me as well. 42 years ago.
yeah,
Like,
but
yeah.
it's cool to see how far back we can trace kind of our interest in how the mind works, and supporting and helping people and all that kind of stuff. In your bio, we talked about leadership and culture and helping businesses and then also coaches. So I'm curious, you can start wherever you want, but just to learn more about your practice, who you're helping, how you're helping them, that kind of thing.
Oh, well, because I'm quite old and I've been around quite a while, and I've done a lot of different trainings over the years. I've helped such a variety of people in my work.
Mm,
I created a program called Our Mental Health Rocks, which was a three principle well-based program going into schools and leaderships. Then COVID hit and then that stopped.
mm,
I've worked with adults, I've worked with children, I've worked with parents, I've worked with you name it, I've pretty much worked with everybody. And over the past few years since joining the AJC, I've moved into, as well as supporting coaches, because I was already supporting coaches before that, I moved into working with companies and
mm,
having companies see that the organizational disconnect that so often is inside companies with multi teams and multi personalities and the culture can actually come back online and come back together and be cohesive for the benefit of the individuals, the teams, and the company. So when I'm working with coaches, I help coaches understand that everything that feels normal, because coaching, building a business is a journey in of itself. When I'm working with companies, it's where's the disconnect between what the company wants and what the company currently has. And invariably, it always comes down to our thinking or somebody's thinking along the way,
Yeah.
and how misunderstandings are created and miscommunication is received.
Mm.
And I join the dots to connect those back together.
Yeah. I love that. I haven't done any corporate work since I started coaching, but I spent my whole career previously in corporate. And
Yeah. So you
and
know what I'm talking about.
yeah, and I often think back to, oh man, I wish I knew this then.
Exactly that, right?
Yeah.
And you've probably been in an ideal position to actually go and have conversations with those people because you were one of those people.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
How cool is
It's
that?
yeah, well, it's funny you say that because I've I guess I've realized that in some way, shape, or form, I've had almost like a corporate PTSD, like this,
Oh, yeah.
like I'm loving what I'm doing now, and the prospect of getting sucked back into the politics and the office BS, all that kind of stuff. It's like, and then I'm like, well, hang on a second, that was then,
Yeah.
So
And I don't get involved in any
yeah,
politics.
so I'm opening to the possibility that things will be much different, knowing what I know now, and also seeing the opportunity that, like, how helpful it can be for people to realize that, well, to paint with a broad brush, it's all made up. So, um,
If we're going to make it up, let's make it fun, right?
yeah, absolutely,
Make it productive.
absolutely. Um, I'm really curious about your Grow With Me program that you mentioned.
Mhm.
Um, you mentioned, I think you mentioned before we started that you're on your fourth cohort. So I'm curious just to hear from you what that journey's been like and the kind of transformations you're helping people go through in their coaching practices.
Um, so the stories are amazing, like time and time again. Not everybody, first things first, not everybody gets results.
Mm,
So, and that's not something most people will admit to, but it's something everybody experiences if you're running a program with multiple people in,
mm,
because everybody brings something different to the table. And some people engage and some people don't. And a book never read will never give you any information.
mm,
Um, but those who join the program and who engage and who bring things and are the people that make me work for my money. Like they're the people I absolutely love to work with
yeah.
because they're the people that get the results. And this is why I'm quite selective on who I pick to come into work to grow with me.
Mm,
It's a program that each iteration has changed because I started off and my first cohort was 10 people and I didn't even know what I was going to deliver. I just told them like, oh, I'm creating something. Who wants to come with me? And people who'd worked with me in the past, it literally went within a weekend, all 10
yeah.
spaces went. And then I learned and I was doing the school and the UGC and I was bringing some of the things from that I was learning. I was bringing some of the things that I'd experienced and that had worked for me. And I built it and built it and built it. And we doubled down on everything that got the results and we let go of the things that people didn't like.
Mm,
So each year it changes. Each year it gets better. Each year from learning, and the stories are the people who come and work who literally might have been one guy was a coach for 10 years beforehand and didn't have a full practice,
mm,
and now he's charging the prices that he wants to and he's got the clients that he wants. So one guy, he's probably more qualified than I am. He's been around for 21 years. He's a fellowship of the ICF. He's a really,
mm,
really experienced guy. And when we first started working together, he felt a disconnect with what he was being told to do to grow his business and how he
mm,
wanted to live his life growing his business. And he had some, as we all do, some thinking around how to price, how to show up, how to be the online coach.
mm,
And when we stripped all that back and went, just be you,
mm,
like be who you are, because that's what people are going to connect with. And the penny dropped. And literally that same weekend, he had two new clients come from out of the blue, literally,
mm,
paying his full price, and they were his ideal clients. So and these stories happen time and time again.
yeah.
Like in Grow With Me, when people are taking the action and being consistent, change happens.
Mm,
And this is what I'm going to be saying to your people now, if they're listening and they're wanting to grow a business, keep taking some action. Because if you take an action every day before this call started, we were talking about one step at a time, right?
Yeah.
If people are literally we'll do one thing each day, that's 20 to 30, a month, depending
Yeah.
on whether they just use the weekends or whether they just do the days. That's like 300 a year. How can you not be somewhere different if you take an action every day?
Yeah. Absolutely.
This is what we promote and grow with me. It's not about trying to climb a mountain in one step.
Yeah.
It's about taking all the steps to get up some really high mountains and look at the spectacular views.
I've always thought of the metaphor of the pyramids, like you see these amazing pyramids. Well, they were all just built one brick at a time.
One brick at a time.
Yeah. Two things occurred to me as you're talking. One is alignment, which you mentioned in the story, but each of us, uh, our business, because it's an extension of ourself, will be unique and different, and that's okay. And the more aligned you are with who you are and what you bring to the table, the more likely you are to succeed because you're not trying to be something you're not. That's I'll just make that assertion. You can
I
we can talk
agree.
about that. But and then the other thing, which I've experienced with my coach circle as well, is there's something powerful about um, this team dynamic of being in it together. Like, yes, you're doing your own thing, but you're doing it with a group of like-minded people who are trying to do the same thing for themselves. And there's that it just creates a whole support structure that otherwise doesn't exist. So people out there trying to do it on their own, whether it's your program or my program or Ann Cushion's school or any of the other amazing trainers that are out there, um, there's that community element of it that really helps all. I think of it like the all boats rise with the tide kind of thing.
Exactly that.
Mm,
Exactly that. When people are going through something or having some thinking about something, when we're in our own minds, it's a very isolating place to be.
mm,
And it's a very amplified place to be. And we feel like we are the only ones. And when we look out into the world of coaches, everybody else is nailing it and just doing amazing. And we're the
mm,
ones that are struggling and having the thinking. And when we come into that community, whether it's yours, whether it's a school, whether it's mine, or anybody else's, when you find the community for you, you can bring all of you. There's
mm.
no judgment. There's support. There's calling out if need be, right? Because
Yeah,
sometimes we all need to be called out a little bit.
yeah,
But there's that collectiveness of, yeah, we hear you, we get it. You're not alone.
mm,
And you're really right from my perspective as well in what you are saying about being yourself. Because if you're trying to grow a business from being a certain persona, when that one doesn't work, you're going to change to something else, and you're going to change to something else, and you're going to change to something else, and it never feels right or comfortable because it's you're doing something, not
mm,
being someone.
yeah,
And people are attracted and connect with who you are and your realness. And if you're trying to portray something, and then like when they get to know you, you're something totally different, that doesn't work.
yeah.
With me, what you see is what you get. I'm guessing that, feeling that from you as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well,
And
that's what I endeavor for anyway.
it's really easy to be who we are
Yeah,
when we get out of our own way of thinking that we can't do that.
yeah. And the other thing that's coming to me in terms of that is who we are is evolving too. So like who we are today versus a year from now or 2 years from now, like that's we're going to change and it grow and um, have new ideas, new things that pique our interest or new directions we want to go in. I mean, you talked a little bit about how you've coached basically, from kids to grown-ups to businesses to whatever, and that's because in each of those, I'm imagining you were yourself. It's just you had different interests or I don't know, the universe just has a way of putting different things in front of us at different times, and then we can play play with it.
Absolutely. Definitely play with it.
Yeah.
And I love what you just said when you were talking about that because we do have different like interests, and I think the universe just gives us different opportunities when we're ready for them,
Mm,
right? And just because we do one thing at one time doesn't mean to say we have to do it forever. We're flexible, but always growing and always changing.
yeah.
And even people listening to these recordings that you're doing, these episodes that you're doing, they can be a different person from the
Mm,
beginning of this to the end of any one of your episodes.
yeah,
We never know what's going to just drop for somebody, and they never know until it does.
yeah,
So it doesn't have to be a year. It could literally be in 10 minutes.
yeah, yeah. And us too.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
That's the cool thing. We just never know. And that's the game that we're playing when we're open to playing it.
Mm,
That's where
yeah,
the fun is.
yeah, yeah. I love what you just said about, this idea of openness. Um, like in the absence of insecure thinking, we're just open to whatever comes. And when you're open, things can surprise you and show up.
Have you ever noticed that when you're having a good day, you never look around for somebody to blame because you're happy? Like,
Mm,
whose fault is it I'm happy? We don't do that,
no,
right?
no.
But as soon as we have a feeling or an experience of something that we deem that we shouldn't be feeling, we look for a reason for it to happen.
Mm,
And that reason keeps us in it for longer because we spend more time in those weeds.
yeah.
And what if we just never had to look for anything or anyone to blame and just went, yeah, every storm runs out of rain?
Mm,
What if that little bit of just curiosity there could be the difference that changed your life? Like, and that could make the game that you're playing even more fun. That would be cool.
I'm curious if you have one or two examples of how coaching has either helped yourself or a client, or even one of your coaching clients, business clients, just so they can relate to it, a transformation. They can see, somebody listening to this could go, "Oh, that's me. That means that's possible for
Right.
me
Okay.
too."
So that little bit of context on the end
Yeah.
changed who I was going to share the story of.
Okay.
The first one was the absolute power of coaching, the way it literally saves lives.
Mm,
I've worked with people who literally has saved their lives through coaching. And if your listeners, if I'm putting myself in the place of your listeners, if they're coach-to-coach interested, I'm guessing that they're either building a business or they've got interest in building a coaching
mm,
business. So the way coaching can help with that, let me give the example of when I first joined the AJC.
mm,
I first went into the school, and in my mind, one of these big coaches, right, were like in the room, and then there was just little old me, and what was I doing in the room with all these big coaches,
yeah.
right? And then like we entered the school and we learned and we had coaching around that, and literally that same weekend, I was a different coach. Like personally, like I was looking at the power of language and how I was creating myself, but it's in the intangibles. Like it's in the way you walk, the way you feel, the way you speak, the way you just settle into yourself when you see something that's totally new for you. That's what coaching does. That's what being coached does. And that's what we give to our clients when we're coaching them. We give them an opportunity to see from believing that you can never have a business, you're never going to get clients, people will never pay you a certain price, to paying in full £3,000 for 3 months or whatever it is, when the most you've ever charged has been 50 quid a session. Like
Mm,
when you can go from thinking like that to how did I get there? And it's easy. That's the power of coaching, because coaching doesn't add, it takes away. Don't give people lots more things to do. We show them where they're thinking, stop them getting where they wanted to be. And if your people are listening to this now and they want a little bit of free coaching right here and right now, take a look at what looks like it's in the way. And what if it wasn't? Just play the game. What if it's not? And see what comes up for you. Because that's the power of coaching. Coaching changes lives. Coaching saves lives. coaching transforms lives, not only of the people that we're working with, but ours as well. We can't help but consistently grow when we work with our clients.
Mm.
The amount of, I grew up thinking, being told, shut up, nobody's interested in what you've got to say, like literally all my life.
Yeah.
That's how I grew up, and I had that long belief for a lot of years. Nobody's interested. Don't speak up. It's nothing to do with you. Nobody's interested. Like that was the consistent message.
Mm.
Going through the work, this development I've done, like I can talk if I want to.
Yeah.
Right? If people get gold out of it, because that's my intention, great. If they don't, okay. Either way, I've still got something I can say. And so is everybody else.
Mm.
We've all got something somebody needs to hear.
Yeah. I love that you're pointing to the subtractive nature of coaching and when people buy stuff, like they have this mindset of getting something and this idea of no, it's like it's about taking things away. It just it's the first time this image had popped in my head. Here in Canada, we have a service called 1-800-GOT-JUNK, which is basically a service that you want to clean out your basement or your garage or your attic or whatever. You can just phone them and they'll come and just point. Their whole thing is all you got to do is point and we'll get rid of it. And I thought, oh yeah,
Cool.
that's kind of like with coaching. It's like they don't know what the junk is that they need to get rid of, but us coaches do. And so it's kind of like the service to come and clean out their attic.
Wouldn't that be cool? Could
Yeah,
you imagine? You'd have a line, you'd have a line going around the block.
yeah,
If people could just take out anything any thoughts that was holding them back from creating something.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And I love what you're pointing to too, in terms of our long history of where our stories come from. In our child, like from as early as you can remember,
We've all got them.
being told what you can't do, what you shouldn't do. I'll tell you a funny story. So my son is working at a local grocery store. I worked at many years at the head office for this grocery chain, and he's working at the garden center because it's spring. Spring is trying to happen here in Canada, slowly but surely. Anyway, so he found out the president of the company, like the whole grocery company, which is a national company, is coming to tour the store. So he comes home, he's all excited. He goes, "Oh, I'm not working that day, but I think I'll go in because I want to talk to him." And I was like, "Yeah, that's not going to happen. Like they're not going to let you get within 10 feet of this guy. Like these guys go to the store and they have an entourage around them, and
Mhm.
the store manager and the management of the store, they're on pins and needles because the the head guy is coming and anyway, it's a big important thing. So I told him all these stories that I have about
Mhm.
why that's a bad idea. And then I took my dog for a walk later in the afternoon, and that's when I have most of my good thinking is when I'm walking the dog because I'm not thinking about anything. Uh, um, anyway, I came back and I went and saw my son. I said, I want to apologize to you because I just downloaded a whole set of limiting beliefs onto you that may or may not be true, but whatever. If you have the nudge that you want to go talk to the president of the company or the president of the world, it doesn't matter. You go do it. Don't let some old codger like me tell you what you can or can't do. So he was like, "Oh, thanks, Dad. That's great." And then he told me the next day he was talking to the store manager, and the store manager basically told him exactly what I had told him.
Mhm. Mhm.
And he came back home and told me that, and I said, "Yeah, he's singing from the same song sheet as I've been singing from." Because we have these corporate rules in our head about how important this guy is, and he doesn't want to hear from some part-time kid working in the store. But how do we know? Like,
How do
there's
you
so many
know
stories in the
indeed?
world of the person who acted on courage and went and told their idea or made a connection, and next thing you know, it shoots them off into a direction they could have never imagined. So anyway, I was glad that I caught myself after limiting what I was telling my son to just coaching myself through that and going like, no, don't let me get in your way. You do what comes natural to you. So
And that's the power of coaching
yeah,
right there. You asking for an example, that's the power of coaching, of having the ability to see what was once just an invisible belief that you would have never once seen, you would have just continued to live from.
Yeah.
You've had coaching that's now visible to you, maybe not directly in the moment, because
Yeah.
we've got no control in the moment, but
Yeah.
when we've got awareness of it, that's when we do that, and that's what you've done.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Yeah. It's very cool.
Because we all have that.
Yeah.
We've all got voices in our heads from, when we've been brought up and from different people, different things. There's something like over 50 or 60% of adults won't draw because they were taught at school they couldn't draw.
Mm,
Right. And then that one throwaway comment by a teacher has created a persona around them for the rest of their life and identity of who they are and what they can do.
yeah.
Like, what if we didn't have that?
Yeah.
What
Absolutely.
if more people could see that that was a story that doesn't have to be true? What if more people like your son goes, I'm going to go and speak to him,
Yeah.
right? Like, why not? He could be passing. He says, hello, how are you doing? He stops and he has to come. You don't know. How cool is that?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And you then saw that you'd done something, came to you, really, and then you went and had that conversation with him.
Yeah.
And you brought the back into the possibility for him. I hope he does it. I hope he gets it.
Yeah.
I hope he gets that
I hope so too.
conversation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny you speak of drawing this over my shoulder. Here's my logo, which is a circle with an arrow that breaks through the side of the logo, which is representing unleashing your potential. And I was at my brother's house a couple summers ago, and he's got six. Well, now they're eight. At the time, they were 6-year-old twins, and his daughter was coloring. I said, "Oh, Blake, I have a great idea. I want you to draw my logo for me." And trying to get her to make the arrow break through the edge of that circle. She It was like trying to force her to draw outside the lines when she's been told her whole life to draw inside the lines, and so it ended up being like an add-on triangle on the
Mm-hmm.
outside. But it was a perfect metaphor for, even at 6 years old, how much thinking and conditioning has already been put into place, um, that limits her and prevents her from being outside the box slash outside the circle.
And that limiting belief was given to her through praise
Mm,
for drawing inside the lines.
yeah, absolutely.
Innocently, it was all innocent.
Yeah,
Because we want them to have the coordination to be able to do that and the
yeah,
dexterity to be able to do that. Yeah, well done. You didn't go over the lines. And we don't realize that that then potentially creates the trap where they can't go over the lines.
yeah,
We are so complex
yeah,
and it's in so much innocence.
yeah,
And we all do it all the time.
yeah,
So the
yeah,
more we get awareness,
yeah,
the more we get curious, the more we call our own BS out,
mm,
even sometimes, the more there is to see. Because the more we see, the more there always is to see.
mm. I like that. Yeah, the metaphor of a mountain without a top, or a mountain without a summit, has been coming up for me lately in reading Ankush's book and a few other things. But yeah, the I like that. The more you see, the more there is to see. Like, it's infinite.
Infinite never stops.
Yeah, which is a very exciting prospect, I'd say.
Well, we see something in this area, then we can go and see something in this area and in this area
Yeah,
and in this area. And the more we see, the more there is to see.
yeah,
It never ends.
yeah,
And we think we go through life like this, not realizing there's loads more to see.
yeah,
Take the blinkers off and start looking around.
yeah. So I love about this community in the coaching world. I've met so many people that are. There's a few gentlemen in the Clarity tribe that are, in their 70s, and I just like, oh, this is amazing. Like, to be starting something new and fresh, no matter what age you are, and being, allowing yourself to be a beginner and go through that learning. And yeah, I'm just like, yeah, sometimes I imagine, I go, well, yeah, what am I going to be up to when I'm 70? That's fresh and new and exciting.
How cool is
It's
not knowing?
exciting. Yeah.
How cool is not knowing?
Mm.
Because as soon as we think we have to know, we're putting the blinkers back on and we don't say it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How cool is not knowing? And just being open to knowing that it's going to happen.
Mhm.
And you don't have to know what that it is. Exciting.
Speaking of an it, if there was one thing you'd want people to take away from this conversation, what would that one thing be?
Every limitation, every obstacle you have can be turned into an opportunity. Get playful, get curious. Don't let anything stop you, because the only thing stopping you is a thought that you can't. So don't let that thought be true, because it's just an option of one of 70,000 thoughts. Let it pass you by.
Free obstacles and opportunity.
Mm.
It feels so, you know, glass half full, so optimistic. It's almost like, oh, if that's true, that every obstacle is an opportunity, then we would welcome obstacles.
Let me show you. So I've just bought myself a lovely, lovely looking thing. Yeah. I'll open it up. A new Remarkable, right?
Mm.
Haven't got a flipping clue how to use it, right? So I bought it because I'm sort of carrying millions of books and notepads and everything around
Yeah.
me. So I'm going to go and get a Remarkable. I was told they were really good. I was advised to get one. So I bought one. And then my friends said, well, how was the Remarkable? I don't know. It's just sitting on my desk in my office. I've opened it. I've signed up for it. I've paid the subscription and I haven't done anything with it yet. Now, in my head, the obstacle is, oh, you're not technology minded. You'll lose things. Keep with the paper that you know.
Mm.
The opportunity is, get your ass on YouTube and go and look at how to use it and turn it into something that's useful. That's the opportunity.
Yeah.
Anything that we think stopping us, we've just got to look at where can we learn from this? Where can we ask about this? Like we've got the age of information that we've never had it before.
Mm.
Every obstacle is an opportunity for learning, for growth, for change. Always.
And for connection, what's occurring to me too is like the opportunity to connect with somebody for help or assistance or guidance in that area that you're perceiving as an obstacle. And next thing you know, it's because you might have a friend who is an expert using their Remarkable, and it's like that's the impetus of a conversation, and who knows where those conversations lead. So it's yeah, I love it.
So we can look at it being a glass half full from yeah, it's okay for you to say point.
Yeah.
Or we can look at it from let's test this out for myself point.
Mm.
What's my obstacle? Get a piece of paper, write your obstacle down. On the other side of that piece of paper, write what the opportunity is around it.
Mm.
And notice how quickly your obstacles can turn into opportunities. That's the game.
Well, this has been amazing. I've really enjoyed getting to know you a little bit, and
Yeah.
just being in this space with you is energizing, and everything you're pointing to is just you know, very exciting for me. So I appreciate you taking the time. If people want to learn more about you or find out about your Grow With Me program and so on, what's the best place for them to find you?
They can find me on Facebook. They can find me on my website. They can just search Julie Brown, search Grow With Me, Julie Brown on LinkedIn. They're my two main platforms, Grow With Facebook and LinkedIn. And you can search for me by name or by Grow With Me. I'll just grow with both of those.
Nice.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you so
thanks so
much for
much.
having me on.
Yeah, it's been my pleasure. I'm looking forward to meeting even more the Ankush Jan Coaching School folks that he's been sending my way. So, um, yeah, you're part of a wonderful group of people. I'm sure you already know that, but
I
uh,
absolutely do.
it's
Thank
great
you.
to be invited to be a little part of that myself. So,
Thank you.
yeah, thanks so much.